I remember a number of years ago, you went through experiences of flow that were not like a massage. They were more like a beating.
Yes. I had sort of left spiritual practice for many years. I'd had bad experiences with other teachers, and I said, no more teachers, no more gurus, no more techniques. I'm going to let life be my teacher. And I had many friends at that time who were students of yours, and they were saying very positive things about you, and I said, yeah, well, whatever. You know. So I ended up coming up to one of your retreats in 2006. I had good experiences with you. You showed lots of techniques. You reactivated my desire to meditate, and nothing particular happened on that retreat. I was getting used to the pain of sitting for long periods of time. I was practicing your techniques, and then I went home and I thought, well, that's all very interesting, and that was a pleasant experience in general. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, something started to happen. Something started to happen in my solar plexus area where there were waves and impulses and gnawing sensations and incredible terrors. And I started reliving terrors from my childhood, and I started having a very chaotic feeling. I felt like I was just going crazy. Friends said that I should call you. You were able to walk me through it and ask specific questions. And we were able to isolate the sensations, and you actually said that this was a positive experience. And it was a type of purification, and it was a type of dissolution.
And I gave you the Pollywood Banga.
You said
B-H-A,
Banga.
Yeah, B-H-A.
And that pleased my ego a little bit. That gave me some pleasant feel. Oh, I guess something good is happening. But the experience itself was still so frightening to me because it was so disorienting. Description I have now is like there's like a jazz drummer on speed living in my torso, going, and it felt like a Jim Carrey movie where there was like pounding and twisting and morphing and tingling and just completely incoherent thoughts, terrors, even things didn't look familiar anymore. I have to keep looking at my hands, and I say, these are my hands. Where am I? And I would actually hide in my apartment at home because I was so frightened. And we spent a fair bit of time together, and you said that this was an experience of the dissolving of an old self. I've heard people talk about it before, and it's always different when it happens to you personally.
My standard phrase is, you read the book, now you're going to have to live the movie.
And so many things about the spiritual path that I had read about started happening after that. And I would never have imagined what the experience of that was, from the inside. It's so different that when you read about it and then it starts happening. It was frightening. It really was frightening. And it was very disorienting, and it's been almost 3 years since that's happened. That still comes and goes. And it's now I'm a bit more familiar with it. Just a few hours ago on the retreat, I had another wave of it, where I was having like these very primordial terror thoughts, like a frightened animal feeling like something was a matter of life and death. I felt things being ripped apart. It felt like my heart was being ripped open. It just felt like this ripping experience. And
how did you work with that in terms of?
Well, luckily,
did you do the love it to death?
It was actually too frightening to even bring that in at certain times. I just did the focus on flow, which is a little more hands-off,
Contained, yeah.
a little more hands-off. And I knew I was safe.
So you just noted it as flow, harsh flow, but still flow.
Very, again, the jazz drummer that was hitting every drum all at once. And I, specifically remember a few images, image and feel combos that literally I thought I was going to die. And sight space collapsed. I just completely collapsed into raw image feel, and then let go. And yeah.
Do you remember when you first called me the conceptual model that I gave you for Bhanga? When I talked to you about how it's described in the tradition, it could be very just purely blissful. It's all champagne bubbles and massage. I mean, earlier you were describing this blissful massage.
There is that component.
Yeah, so that for some people it's only blissity the whole way, and the dissolution process just sort of gently and blissfully dissolves them like an Alka-Seltzer tablet into the source. So for some people it's like just blissity. It's pleasant, vibratory, and undulatory flow in the body, and mind is pretty restful. For other people, it's at the other extreme. It's like nothing but the horrific. The flow patterns are harsh and jarring and torturous. The mental pictures are archetypal and horrific monsters, images of death, animals eating you up.
That's exactly what I went through. I went to a Goenka retreat 2 years ago in India, and the meditations were horrific. I was an insect being eaten by another insect.
You actually saw that in image
Oh,
space.
I saw this big mouth come and crush me,
Yeah,
consume me.
people
And-
see skeletons of
Death.
yeah.
Oh, and then I was some animal running for its very life, and this other animal grabbed me and just started ripping my flesh apart.
And interestingly, this Bhanga thing is not limited to Buddhist practice. I mean, it's described all over the world, but specifically in shamanic traditions. All over the world, in pre-literate cultures, it is not uncommon for the shamans to report animals have to eat them up, monsters get them, they see their own death, they see the death of everyone in the world, this kind of thing. So there can be these horrific images, uncomfortable touch and feel, and jarring, tearing energies. And then what happened in talk space? Did you get irrational talk going on, or what sorts of talk would come up?
It felt like all the cylinders were firing. It was mostly chaotic feel for me. Horrible shame and guilt. I felt like I should be caught and taken in front of a firing squad and killed, like right away. And I would come out of meditation, and I would be waiting for someone to torture me and kill me.
So that's the horrific side of Bhanga. So for some people, it's only bliss, believe it or not. They never get any of that stuff. For other people, it's mostly horrific. For other people, it's a mixture of both. It has both sides to it. And then actually there's the fourth possibility. Not everyone on a spiritual path or a path to enlightenment passes through a dissolution experience. It's not a requirement. Many people do, but not inevitably, or it may be so mild that you don't really even think of it in terms of a dissolution.